Hey, this is C and Detail. I'm Chris. This is also Chris, and this is MMA for you. We're going to be doing our predictions for UFC 162. It's Anderson Silva versus Chris Weidman, which happens on July 6th. What do you think of this card, man?
Just a quick shout out before we start the show.
Yeah, man, you can watch this at Q's Lounge, man.
See that, Rexy?
Yeah.
See that? All right.
Yep. Yeah, go to Q's Lounge. Do they charge cover?
We never charge a cover.
They never charge a cover,
Ever.
man.
Ever,
So if you're in the California, Orange County area, check out Q's Lounge. So back to what I was saying, my man. What do you think of this card overall?
UFC 162, Silva versus Weidman. Probably, for me personally, the most anticipated fight. That I see all year. If I had to choose one fight to watch, I'd probably have to choose the Silva Weidman fight to watch this year. So that gives you any indication of my excitement about the card.
Nice, man, nice. Well, let's get started then. We got Anderson the Spider Silva versus the All-American Chris Weidman. You know what, man? Weidman does have the style to beat Anderson Silva. I mean, seriously. The wrestling, the top control, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, seriously, if this guy didn't go into MMA, there's a good chance that he would have been one of the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners in the world. Like, he is that good.
Oh, his ground game is that good?
It is that good.
I thought he was a striker.
Dude, that guy is a great wrestler, and his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game is seamless. Front choke series, one of the best I've ever seen.
Amazing.
But, you know what? It's Anderson Silva. You know what I mean? What do you say?
That's ridiculous.
I mean, what can you say about it? You tell me about Anderson Silva, because I got Anderson. I assume you got Anderson. Why do you got Anderson?
Why do I got Anderson? Because he's like the best fighter on the face of the planet in the history of the UFC. I don't know. He's like I don't know. He's like on a different level. It's like he's like in the Matrix. And everyone else is kind of just fighting like down here on planet Earth. So I mean, I don't really know what to say about this fight. I just want to see a great fight. And like you said, Chris Weidman, he's 9-0, undefeated. Trains at Serra Longo. He doesn't really have any weaknesses either. He's just like. If there wasn't a guy named Anderson Silva, then he would definitely be like a title holder. But unfortunately, there is somebody named the Spider, and what else can you say? Probably my favorite fighter next to John Jones, and I'm gonna go with Anderson Spider Silva.
Yeah, let's hit some stats here, man. 33-4 record for Anderson Silva. 20 wins by KO or TKO, 6 wins by sub. 38 years old, not fighting like he's 38, dude. The guy fights like he's in his 20s, and not because of TRT. Like he's just that he doesn't.
He's not on anything.
He's just he's a guy that hasn't taken too much damage in his career. Finishes fights early a lot of times. 17 fight win streak. He has the longest win streak in the UFC. He has the most title defenses in the UFC. I think he might have some of the most finishes. I mean, his stats are incredible. UFC middleweight champion, consensus #1 pound for pound fighter. Muay Thai, excellent Muay Thai, excellent knees, excellent in the clinch, excellent kicks, excellent jab. Good at measuring distance and timing. The guy can fight with his hands down to his waist and drop people with jabs. Creative and unorthodox striking, spinning strikes, flying knees. Highly accurate. I mean, this guy just doesn't punch air, When he throws, it's usually with bad intentions. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and he has been showing improved takedown defense. I mean, Chris Weidman, though, dude, this guy's wrestling. It's on another level. He's top control. He's huge for the weight class. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like I said, this guy's front chokes, man, are just nasty. And he goes for them a lot. Striking has been greatly improving. He hasn't fought in a while, though. Last time he fought was against Mark Munoz. But he is undefeated. And, he is a very good fighter who, honestly, as far as threatening Anderson, definitely one of his biggest threats. I mean, he has the wrestling to take him down. He has the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to keep him down and submit him. So, I am very interested in this fight. I know there's journalists like Luke Thomas on MMA Fighting that think Chris Weidman's going to beat Anderson Silva. There's multiple just MMA fans that think Chris will win as well. Others think, well, Anderson. So this is a very good fight. Stylistically, got the undefeated guy, a guy that could potentially get the torch passed on to him. You know what I mean? And he'd be a good. If there's anyone that's going to beat Anderson, I would like it to be a guy like a Chris Weidman, as opposed to like a Chael Sonnen or something like that. Sure. At least Weidman, good guy, young guy, could be a great guy. Yeah, great guy.
Solid guy.
Very strong. He has a dominating skill set. Still young. He could be a good. He would be good. He'd be a good champion too. I just don't think he'll win it. But he's a great fighter, and if he does, hey, he passed the torch on to a great fighter that could be a dominant champion. Okay, next fight after that, we have Frankie the Answer Edgar versus Charles the Bronx Oliveira. I am a fan of the Bronx, but I gotta go with Frankie Edgar to win this one. I mean, like I said, I like the Bronx. His Muay Thai is really good. His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, this guy's really active off his back or on top. Never in a boring fight, really. Problem with the Bronx, his defense is pretty bad. Frankie Edgar, former UFC lightweight champion. You've seen what he can do. Who do you think will win this?
You know what? I'm switching my pick on this. And I'm going to respectfully disagree with you. And I'm actually going with Charles Oliveira.
Oh, yeah.
He's 16-3-1.
And won no contest, yeah.
And won no contest. Trains at Macau. Macaco Go Team.
Yeah.
Good Muay Thai. Strong Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The defense could use a little bit of work. But we're going to be banking on the offense, and I think this is going to be a very competitive match.
One thing about Oliveira, I mean, he did get knocked out by Cub Swanson recently, but dude, the guy's only 23. He is still a top prospect in the division, despite getting knocked out in his last fight. I gotta go Frankie Edgar though. Resilient guy, tough to finish, good kickboxing, uses angles and combinations. Wrestling, both offensively and defensively, he's good. He's getting into scramble, and this guy can go 10 rounds. I just got to go with Frankie Edgar because of those factors. I've always been a fan of Charles Oliveira. I think I've never picked against him, but this time I just have to. Okay, next fight after that we have Tim Kennedy. We have Strikeforce Imports here as Tim Kennedy fights Hoger Gracie. What do you got, man?
I got. Is it Hoger or Roger? I'm gonna call him Roger.
You can go, but H's are R's, and Brazil right. And whatnot. So
I'm going with Roger Gracie. He's on a 2-fight win streak. Trains with Black House. Obviously comes from one of the top Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu families in the world. Good clinch, good jab. Weak stand up, but I mean that's the price you got to pay when your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is just so off the charts. And cardio also questionable. But I don't know. I like the guy, so that's probably not a good reason to pick him. But I like him. I like his family. I like what they're all about, and so I'm gonna go with Roger Gracie.
As far as a more well-rounded skill set goes, you'd have to give it to Tim Kennedy. However, stylistically, this isn't actually a great fight for Tim Kennedy. I mean, let's go with the stats. 15-4 record for Tim Kennedy, 5 wins by KO TKO, 8 wins by sub. He's 33, and he trains at Jackson's. One thing stylistically, he's mainly a clinch grinder type of fighter. He's relentless about he'll get you against the cage, he'll clinch, he's relentless about getting takedowns. His striking's only decent. He's not a great striker. I mean, I'd say a serviceable striker. But he's not a great striker by any means. And he's more of a grinder. He's the type of guy that'll take you down and grind you out. And guess what? Edgar Gracie is the top Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner in the world. You get this guy to the ground, he wants to be there. You know? So, in that sense, you know, I gotta go with Edgar Gracie as well. It just, I would favor Kennedy just because there's a good chance he can defend the takedowns and beat him up standing. Stylistically, this isn't a great fight because we just might see a bad kickboxing battle, to be perfectly honest with you. But, you know, Edgar Gracie, if he can get the fight to the ground, dude, I mean, it's done for Tim Kennedy. You know, I mean, who's good on the ground himself, but Edgar Gracie is just incredible. His with Gracie's 2-fight win streak is over Keith Jardine and Anthony Smith. Two good, you know. I mean, Jardine's kind of over the hill. Anthony Smith's not the worst fighter. Tim Kennedy's definitely a lot better than Anthony Smith. But yeah, you know, I'll go with Edgar Gracie, even though I do feel that Tim Kennedy is the more well-rounded guy, and he could potentially keep the fight standing and just make it a bad kickboxing bout. And if that's the case, I think Kennedy would win. Otherwise, I think the fight's gonna hit the ground, and I think Edgar Gracie's gonna win.
Sounds good.
Okay, next fight after that, we got the return of the Korean Zombie, Chang Sung-jung versus Ricardo Lamas. Who do you got, my man?
I got the Korean Zombie. I love the Korean Zombie.
Yeah.
He's on a 3-fight win streak. He's got strong chin, pushes forward, good striking. You know, can get a little bit reckless. Strong Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Good scrambling. Last fought in May 2012.
So it's been a year, huh?
It's been a year, but I don't see ring rust as an issue in this particular instance, and so I'm going with Chan Sung Jung for the win.
Yeah. You know, the problem with me is there's certain fighters that I just don't pick their fights well. Cub Swanson was one of them. I picked his last fight though to actually win. Ricardo Lamas is one of those guys that I generally don't pick his fights very well. I'm going to go with Korean Zombie here, but because of that, you know, I am a bit worried because I generally underestimate Ricardo Lamas a lot because I generally don't pick him to win, and it turns out he does win. You know, Hatsuyoki, Eric Koch. I picked Cub Swanson to beat him, and then he beat Cub Swanson. You know, so I'm not great at picking Lamas fights. And, you know, he's a good wrestler. Really good wrestler. Striking is good. It's not great, but he's good. He showed some really solid ground and pound in his last fight. And it's overall good top control. As Hatsuyoki really threatened with those guillotine chokes, you know. But the Korean Zombie, I mean, okay, he has a 1-year layoff, but this guy's going to push forward. He does have a really strong chin. Yeah, he gets reckless, but he also has, like I said, a strong chin. This guy's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and scrambling abilities is underrated because a lot of people know him from his striking and just having those crazy, you know, wars with like Leonard Garcia or whoever, you know, Dustin Poirier, whoever. But you know, like I said, this guy's ground game is, I mean, underrated. People don't realize how good it is, you know. Hit a twister and whatnot. And his standout, I think, is good enough against Lamas. He actually has some power, too. That's the other thing with Chang Sung-jung. Knocked out Hominick in 7 seconds. So I gotta go with the Korean Zombie, Chang Sung-jung, to win this one. Okay. Next fight after that, we have Dennis Siver versus Cub Swanson. You know what? I picked Swanson to win last time against Poirier, and I finally broke my Swanson curse. However, let's see how this fight goes, because I'm going to go with Dennis Siver to win this one.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm going with Dennis Siver. This guy is huge for the weight class. Strong kickboxing. Really good kicks. He hits kicks from all angles. Spinning back kicks. Karate-style kicks and whatnot. And his grappling is improving. Yeah, I gotta go with Siver, but I like Swanson a lot. But, you know, I'm gonna go with Siver to win this one. How about you, man?
I'm going with Cub Swanson.
4-5
win streak. Trains at Jackson's MMA. Has KO power, very strong right hand, very game, good chin, good kickboxing, good Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
All around good fighter.
He's a great fighter. I think he's gonna beat Dennis Siver.
Yeah, this is a fight I'm really looking forward to. Actually, a lot of these fights because I just feel that these are equally matched. To be honest, I don't know if my Cub Swanson curse is gonna come back or not, but yeah, I got to go with Siver to win this. So you got Swanson.
Yep.
Okay, on to the prelims. We got Tim, the Barbarian Boetsch, versus the Filipino Wrecking Machine, Mark Munoz. You know what, man? I gotta go with my Filipino brother here, Mark Munoz here. I actually don't a lot of times. One of the things with Munoz that is concerning is he did last fight in June 2012 against Chris Weidman. So he will have some ring rust. He is big for the weight class. His ground and pound is really good. He does have good wrestling. His wrestling, though, hasn't transitioned too well to MMA. He still gets taken down despite his credentials. He still has some offensive wrestling. Like, he'll try to take guys down from his knees. His striking is improving. He has some defensive holes, but he has some really heavy hands. 35 years old. Trains down the street here at Rain MMA. Trained there before. My brother's actually held pads for Mark Munoz.
Oh, right?
Yep. It's funny. The thing is, I train at Rampages. I see Rampage all the time. I remember seeing Munoz. He hasn't fought in a while. Munoz seriously looks bigger than Rampage. I mean, I'm not kidding. I was like, dude, Mark Munoz is like, there's like a why? Like, he's just really like. He's not super tall.
He's got big,
yeah, he's just a really big guy.
Features.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'll go with Munoz. I like Boetsch though, but I once again, this is a very even matchup in my eyes. But yeah, I'll go with Munoz. How about you, man?
I personally, nothing against you or anything, but I'm not a big Mark Munoz fan. I'm gonna go with Tim Boetsch. Trains at AMC Pancration.
Nice.
Overpowers his opponent. Good judo, strong clinch. Good striking, good wrestling, good top control, heavy hands. I don't know. Mark. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Mark Munoz.
Yeah, Boetsch definitely is. He's really big for the weight class as well, similar to Munoz. Trains at a great team. The guys at AMC Pancration, got Carlos Fedor and Matt Brown, among others who train there. Flyweight champion Demetrius Johnson. Yeah. So, he trains at a good camp, and I like both. Stylistically, this is a really interesting matchup. These guys are very similar and very different at the same time. But yeah, I'll go with Munoz. You got Boetsch. Okay. Sure. Next fight after that, we have Andrew Craig versus Chris Lieben. You know what? I'm gonna say this right now. I think Chris Lieben is shot. I gotta go with Andrew Craig, man. Young guy, 27 years old, big for the weight class, which is actually like the story of a lot of these divisions. Middleweight and featherweight, you're getting guys. Dennis Siver's huge for featherweight. You're getting a lot of guys that are cutting down. Munoz, Boetsch, those guys are huge for the weight class as well. For middleweight, Andrew Craig, big for the weight class. Very game opponent. This guy's never had a fight. You saw against Rafael Natal, and even against Honey Marks, he wouldn't stop fighting. Good striker, good wrestler. Just a good prospect at middleweight. Who do you got?
I still got love for Chris Lieben. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. He's got one punch KO power, strong chin, brawler. His grappling is underrated. I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with your assessment, and so I'm gonna go with Chris Lieben for the win.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Maybe it was a layoff, but he didn't look great against Derek Brunson. That's a bit concerning, but we'll see how it goes with this fight. Okay, next fight after that we have Norman Park versus Koski Tokudome. I'll go with the. So we have Australian Park and Tokudome, who is a Japanese. But I'll go with Norman Park. Solid fighter. He won the Ultimate Tough Smashes. 17-2 record. 12 of those wins are by submission. He's on a 7-fight win streak. 26 years old. You know, just good striker. Good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You know, solid fighter. Nothing like. He's not a standout or anything in any particular area, but he's a solid guy. You know. Who do you got?
You said Norman Park is from Australia?
Yeah.
Are there a lot of good fighters in Australia?
You know, I mean, do you count Mark Hunt as Australian? Because he's more New Zealand.
New Zealand next to Australia?
Yeah.
It is? Okay.
Well, I guess that's different. Well, they have, like, Norman Park, George Soteropoulos, Hector Lombard made a career out of fighting out of Australia. The guys from Tough Smashes, I mean, some of them are alright.
They're from Australia?
Yeah, well, it's Australia versus the UK. And the other winner, I forgot his name now. The other winner of Tough Smashes wasn't bad as well. I think he's Australian, if I'm not mistaken.
Cool.
But, yeah.
That's kind of just random, but yeah. I mean, there's this really cute girl from Australia named Rosemary. And I was just wondering. But anyways, I'm going to go with Kazuki Tokudome. 3-fight win streak. Good striking. Good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. His defense is weak. But I think he's, I think he could take out Norman Park.
Cool.
I like Japanese fighters.
Cool. Okay, next fight after that, we have Edson Barboza versus John McDessie. For me, I'm a huge Barboza guy. I don't think I'll ever pick against this guy. And, I mean, both these guys are very similar in age. Like, Barboza's 27, McDessie's 28. Record, 11-1 for Barboza, 11-2 for McDessie. Strong kicking games, and whatnot. But, yeah, I gotta go with Barboza here. Strong Muay Thai. I think he's training with Frankie Edgar now these days. Some really good kicks, and his grappling is improving. Who do you got?
I love Edson Barboza. I like him as a fighter. He's got strong Muay Thai, good kicks, improving grappling. That's my pick. That's my guy.
Yeah, man. I mean, just like Vitor. I mean, Edson Barboza set up the spinning heel kick KO. Vitor Belfort just did it to Luke Rockhold, very recently. But, yeah, McDessie, let's not sleep on the guy, though, Trains at TriStar, 2-fight win streak, he has a Taekwondo-style stand-up, good movement, He has some really good kicks. But one thing he's been really reliant on as of late is his jab. He has a really good jab, and which he could use against Barboza. Potentially. His ground game isn't the strongest, and he is actually pretty small for the weight class. But otherwise, I'll go with Edson Barboza to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, we got another Filipino fighter as Shane Del Rosario fights Dave Herman.
He's Filipino?
Yes.
Crazy.
Yes, he is. Trains here at Team Oyama.
I know,
really close.
I know he trains with No Limit.
So, who do you got, man?
I got Shane Del Rosario. He's on a 2-fight losing streak, but like you said, he trains locally here at Team Oyama, No Limit. All his fights, he either wins or loses in like KO, right, or submission.
And a finish, yeah.
It's some sort of finish. Good
it never goes to decision.
Good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Good Muay Thai. Weak cardio. I wonder if that's like the strategy employed by like Colin Oyama, not to let it get to the decision, because I know Colin Oyama really doesn't like the refs, but I don't know. I got Shane Del Rosario. I mean, that's kind of tenuous, but
yeah, it's tough to say because like he has Carla Esparza on his team, and she's a wrestler, and she's known to grind.
Yeah.
I mean, Ian McCall's on the team, and yeah, he's a good finisher himself. I mean, I think most,
it's probably just the style. It has nothing to do with the coach.
Yeah, you never know. But, I got Shane Del Rosario here as well. for the reasons you said. Dave Herman, I mean, trains at Team Quest, and he's a naturally gifted guy, but man, this guy's motivation is just crap. His striking is pretty reckless. I mean, his boxing, I mean, Nogueira's like dropping him, you know? He doesn't have good boxing. He'll throw knees and kicks, but his motivation, it looks like he's trying to have fun in there, but too much fun, and he's not very serious. He's a good wrestler, and he has really good top control. But yeah, Herman's on a 3-fight losing streak. I think this is a good fight for Del Rosario to get back on track, use his Muay Thai, and even his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, we have Seth Baczynski versus Brian Malenkon. I was never a big fan of Malenkon. It's his first fight in the UFC. Small for the weight class. His cardio isn't that great. I'll go with Baczynski, dude. That guy's huge for the weight class. Good striking, good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Trains at Power Team MMA. Yeah, Baczynski for the win here. How about you, man?
Baczynski for the win, for all the reasons that you mentioned.
Cool. And finally, we got David Mitchell versus Mike Pierce. Once again, this is kind of a mismatch here. I mean, Mike Pierce fought Koscheck, and I thought he beat Koscheck. A lot of people think that Mike Pierce beat Johnny Hendricks, you know? And there's a good argument for that. Mike Pierce, honestly, should be a top 10 fighter, and he's relegated to the prelims. Mitchell, you know, it's good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but that's all I can really say about him. Mike Pierce is the ultimate grinder with ugly fights. You know, I'll go with Mike Pierce to win this one. How about you?
I'm going with David Mitchell.
David Mitchell, huh?
David Mitchell. He's on a 3-fight win streak. Trains at Sports Lab.
No, that's Mike Pierce.
Oh,
bro.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm going with David Mitchell. I'm just going with him. Just because I don't like Mike Pierce.
Oh yeah, Mike Pierce's style of fighting. I mean, you know, like I said, he has really ugly fights. He'll get you in the clinch, put you against a cage, dirty box, wear you down. I mean, this guy's just a grinder. His fights are real ugly. I mean, but he's a good fighter. He's good at what he does, and it works. You know, I'll go with Mike Pierce to win this one.
I hope David Mitchell submits him.
Okay, let's do a recap, man.
Alright.
Okay, Anderson Silva versus Chris Weidman. I got Anderson Silva winning that one.
I got the Spider.
Okay, Frankie the Answer Edgar fights Charles the Bronx Oliveira.
I got Frankie Edgar.
I thought you had Oliveira.
I got Oliveira. I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah, and I got Frankie Edgar.
My bad.
Okay. Hoger Gracie fights Tim Kennedy. Got Hoger Gracie.
I got Roger Gracie.
Okay. The Korean Zombie Chaeng Sung Jung fights Ricardo Lamas. Got the Korean Zombie winning this one.
I've got Chan Sung Jung, the Korean Zombie.
Okay. And Dennis Siver fights Cub Swanson. I'll go with Dennis Siver to win this one.
I've got Cub Swanson.
Okay. On to the prelims. Tim Boetsch fights Mark Munoz. I'll go with Mark Munoz.
Tim Boetsch.
Okay. Andrew Craig fights Chris Lieben. I got Andrew Craig.
I've got Chris Lieben.
Okay. Norman Park fights Kazuki Tokudome. I got Norman Park.
I've got Kazuki Tokudome.
Okay. Edson Barboza fights John McDessie. I'll go with Edson Barboza.
I'm going to go with Edson Barboza.
Okay. Shane Del Rosario fights Dave Herman. I'll go Shane Del Rosario.
I'm going to go with Shane Del Rosario.
Okay. Seth Baczynski fights Brian Malenkon. I'll go Seth Baczynski.
Seth Baczynski also.
And finally, David Mitchell fights Mike Pierce. I got Mike Pierce.
I've got David Mitchell.
Okay, so that's pretty much it for our predictions for UFC 162. You can watch it on Q's Lounge.
I just want to give out a quick shout out again to Q's Lounge. Rexy, where you at? Right here? Is that? Whoops.
Yeah.
And also, I want to give a shout out to this girl named Rosemary who lives in Australia. I think we had been talking about possibly using FaceTime to talk to each other, but we might be able to use something like, you know, one of these cameras here, so I'll talk to you about that later. Okay, cool. And yeah, that's pretty much it for UFC 162. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.